After a rocky couple seasons, USC has finally decided to part ways with defensive coordinator Alex Grinch. It's been a very frustrating time for USC fans, and it's something that's not really unexpected. I think after what we've seen so far in 2023, Grinch just wasn't getting the job done. Today, we're going to take a look at 10 candidates that could replace Grinch to help make USC a national contender. We'll start with a guy who has made life difficult for USC over the past couple of years, and that's Utah defensive coordinator Morgan Scalley. Utah has been one of the most entertaining teams in college football because they're kind of that underdog in the Pac-12, despite having won back-to-back Pac-12 championships in 2021 and 2022. And it's because their defense plays lights out and is an extremely tough group. And you pair that with the talent that USC has. I think Morgan Scalley could be a great addition to this coaching staff. And obviously they need something to change. They needed something to change. And they just weren't getting the job done in terms of fundamentals. And that's something that Utah plays with with tremendously. They play with fundamentals. They do the right things. They make the right assignments. They don't miss tackles. And they fight through adversity as well. When you look at what Utah has done this year, they have lost a ton of guys to injuries or have been missing guys in certain games, but they continue to fight, they continue to make big plays, and that is something that could help USC in a big way. And I think that if you're looking for someone to be at the top of your list, Morgan Scalley is definitely in that conversation. And these are not all in any particular order. These are just 10 guys that fit into this description of who they should look at. Ron English is another one. I think what he's done with Louisville, with all the losses they've sustained, I think that he is a good option for USC to at least inquire about. They are a disruptive group. Louisville has been one of the more fun groups to watch, especially their front seven. And right now, I think USC's front seven, after we saw this weekend against Washington, I think that you need some help. I think you need somebody that's going to step up and will actually be able to be disruptive. And so far, they don't have more than one guy to do that on a consistent basis. English has plenty of experience at the Power Five level, at the FBS level, and he is definitely someone I would consider if you're trying to improve a unit that has struggled mightily. This is probably an underrated one, maybe more of a long shot, but Joe Rossi from Minnesota. The Minnesota Golden Gophers defense doesn't get a ton of attention, but they are a really good unit. They buy into playing as a whole. And right now, to me, USC could use some of that mentality. I'm not saying that everybody plays as an individual, but right now, it's very much an individual mentality, and it's why they're getting killed. It's why they're getting dominated, and it's why teams find so much success. Is because guys are trying to do their own thing. They're not playing together. They're not doing the fundamentals, and that's exactly what Minnesota can do. Now, maybe this isn't going to be the splashiest hire, the biggest hire that you want, but Joe Rossi is someone who's proven he can get the job done with lesser talent. Imagine what you could do if you give him more. Now, some guys you're going to just make a call on, or you're going to extend an offer to. You're going to ask if they would be interested in coming to the program. And Jesse Minter from Michigan is one of those guys. It just comes down to money. And also, I think with the Michigan scandal, if you will, maybe that has some effect on it. Now, obviously, Minter and the Michigan Wolverines are focused on the college football playoff and winning a national championship. So right now, you probably don't get an answer, but it's at least someone you can at least extend an offer to, or throw a number his way and see if he'll bite. Again, not all of these are going to be the most plausible options, but they're definitely going to get phone calls. You know that Lincoln Riley, if things aren't going right, is going to reach out to certain people and seeing the level of interest with these programs. But or even I should say not programs with these coaches. They're going to be available to take a phone call at least. They're going to be willing to hear out what Lincoln Riley and USC have to say because you know they have the resources to pay these guys whatever. And even though we don't know Alex Grinch's salary, I can guarantee you they can get that new coach whatever Grinch was making or even more. Florida State's Adam Fuller is an aggressive defensive coach. And I think that this would at least be a good one to reach out to as well as certain other coaches. You're just going to reach out and see. Adam Fuller plays defense very aggressively. He wants his guys to attack. And right now, USC just needs a mentality shift. They need a culture shift, and Adam Fuller can give them that. He's done that at Florida State. He did it at Memphis before he was at Florida State, and he did it at Marshall before Memphis. He has a proven track record of playing aggressive defense, and he gets the job done. Now, sometimes it is feast or famine, and right now it's more of a, I guess USC has been more, you talk about bend, don't break. USC has been bend and break. So at least you could get some aggressiveness where you can get some disruptive plays, wreak some havoc. But I think Fuller's units as a whole have played a lot better and more consistently, even if they are more aggressive. I think they found more success, and teams tend to not get the advantage against them as much as you'd think. Who knows what's going on with Iowa, but I think Phil Parker definitely has to be on the list. There's certain guys you just have to call. There's no question about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to call Phil Parker. Phil Parker has done an incredible job at Iowa, and he, for the most part, has done almost too much because he just does not get any help from the offense. The offense does not help Iowa hardly at all, and Iowa's had one of the best defenses in college football for the past few years under his watch. Parker's done a great job of getting his team to, again, we're going to see a theme here, playing well as a unit. Iowa plays really well, even when they have NFL talent, because Iowa definitely has that. They have guys like Cooper Eugene. Last year, you saw Jack Campbell. There are a number of guys that they've had NFL talent, but they get them to buy into the system as a whole. And like I said before, right now that's definitely something USC needs, and a guy like Phil Parker can turn things around quickly. This one depends on if Baylor is going to move on from Dave Aranda, but when you're looking at certain programs that could potentially get rid of a head coach, David Aranda is going to be one of the hottest commodities in college football. And he is a defensive mind who was one of the best defensive coordinators in the country before he got the Baylor job. And it just hasn't worked out with the Bears. They just haven't figured it out. And we've seen a number of losses this year that have been disappointing. And it feels like it's almost inevitable that he will be gone at some point. So Dave Aranda is definitely someone that Lincoln Riley will give a call to because, like I said, you need an elite defensive mind, and you don't have that right now. So getting someone like Dave Aranda to come to your campus to turn things around defensively, because when Dave Aranda worked at LSU, he was able to elevate that defense to a level they hadn't seen before he got there. I should say in the couple of years before he got, he was going to make them better regardless of who was there, but they had the talent that USC can get. And Dave Aranda knows how to turn things around. He did it at LSU, he did it at Wisconsin. He is definitely someone that Lincoln Riley should call, probably one of the top names on the list. Here's the thing, everybody has a number. There is a number that you can throw that you can get certain coaches to come to your program. And USC is in one of those positions where you can throw money at people and see if they'll bite. And Manny Diaz is one of those guys. Now he's doing a great job at Penn State. He's in a good position, but I think he's again another one of those guys that he's on the list. I mean, it's going to be an elite list. Lincoln Riley isn't just going to go get some random person, except for maybe a handful of guys. People when we talked about today, there's going to be mostly guys like Dave Aranda, guys like Adam Fuller, Jesse Minter, Morgan Scalley. There's going to be an elite list, and Manny Diaz is one of those. And right now, he has some serious NFL talent, and he had some serious NFL talent last year as well. He will get that once again at USC. It's just a matter of what is the interest level of him coming out west. Now, one that is kind of off the radar is Shaun Wood. Now, you may not know him from his work at Tulane, although Tulane is having a good season, another good season, and he is a big reason why. He has made that defense really solid. And it shouldn't be a surprise when you look at his work at Troy before he came to Tulane this year. Troy had one of the best defenses in college football last year, and he got this group to play at such a high level. So he is one of the faster risers in college football. Definitely a name that is going to be considered for a lot of jobs. And I think that he deserves a shot with the USC job. Lincoln Riley obviously needs something to change, and maybe he can get a fast riser, someone who is getting his name more well known, and you can get maybe a little bit cheaper price on someone like that. You're probably gonna have to pay a lot more for a better known name, but a guy like Wood, who is hungry to prove his talents and prove his worth, could come in at a cheaper price, and you could still get what you want with that cheaper price. The final one, again, some of these you just have to make a phone call, and Josh Lupoi is doing a great job at Oregon, and maybe they have enough money to entice him to come, but I think you at least have to make the phone call. You have to gauge his interest or gauge the possibility of that. And it's probably this one's probably the most unlikely of everyone here, just because Oregon's in such a good place, and Dan Lanning, I think, has done a great job with that program and has them in a good position. So I don't think that this is a kind of a lateral move. It is a lateral move. It's just a matter of what the money situation would be. But I feel like Oregon can match whatever USC wants to do. We'll see. But I think that's at least a phone call you make. Again, you have to do something. So I'm not really eliminating anything. I don't think that anything's off limits, any coach is off limits. You have to make phone calls. You have to find a way to turn things around. And now that you finally made a change, you have to be serious about getting your team back into the college football playoff and into the national championship conversation. And it's on Lincoln Riley to do that.